So let's try another one. 16r squared minus 8r plus 1. So my last term is adding, but my middle term is subtracting. So that means I had two subtractings, or two negatives in the problem. So I multiply a times c together. 16 times 1 is 16. Since they have the same signs, I know they have to add to get me b, which is 8. Well, to get 16, I could do 1 times 16. I could do 2 times 8. I could do 4 times 4. Well, if I want them to add up to be 8, the only combination that's going to add to be 8 is my 4 and my 4. All right, so this is kind of the tricky step. Now I'm going to plug those pieces back in to the problem. Instead of having them combined as -8, I want to see them as separate pieces in the middle. So I know I had 16r squared, and I know I had +1, because that first and last term never changes. It's the middle terms that change when they get added together. I know it's going to be minus and minus, and I know I have 4s, so 4r and 4r, because -4 and -4 got me that -8 in the middle. Now I factor each one of them. What does 16r squared and 4r both have in common? Well, they both have a 4r in common. So that gives me 4r minus 1. And then for the next one, -4r and 1, what do they both have in common? Well, they don't have a whole lot in common. But remember what we want to happen. We want to get the same thing here that we got back here. We want to get 4r minus 1. So what could I factor out of both a -4r and a +1? Well, I could factor out a -1. Basically think of it, I'm switching each of their signs. So that would give me a +4r and a -1. Now I put the pieces together. My common piece was 4r minus 1, so that's one of my terms. And then I have a 4r and a -1 for my other term. So this ended up being 4r minus 1 times 4r minus 1, or we could also write it as 4r minus 1 squared. All right, so next two just have me doing a tiny bit more. These are going to have something that I can factor out first, and then I'm going to follow my normal steps. So 2b squared plus 10b plus 12, well, they can all be factored a 2 out of them. So that gives me b squared plus 5b plus 6. Notice this one has a 1 on the b squared, so I can go back to my original kind of thinking, the simplified version. What multiplies to give me 6, but adds to give me 5? Because this is one that is a plus and a plus. Well, the only way to get multiply to get 6, but add to be 5 is a 3 and a 2. So I'm going to have b plus 3 and b plus 2. And by factoring out that common factor, it actually went back to one of our nice easy ones to factor, and I was able to solve it pretty quickly. So next one, 6g squared plus 16g plus 8. Well, I can factor a 2 out of everything. So I get 3g squared plus 8g plus 4. I still have that coefficient of 3, so I'm going to need to use my new technique. Everything's positive, so I know I'm going to do plus and plus. A times c, so 3 times 4 is 12. B is equal to 8. So I need something that, 8. So I need something that multiplies to give me 12, but adds to give me 8, since they both have the same signs. Well, I have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. The only way to get 8 is to use a 2 and a 6. So my 2's still out front. My first term is still going to be 3g squared. My last term is still going to be 4. But now I'm going to have a 2g and a 6g in the middle, because they combine to give me 8g. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and factor each one of those. So 3g squared and 2g both have a g in common. So I get 3g plus 2. And then 6g and 4 both have a 2 in common. So I get g plus 2. Oh, sorry, 3g plus 2, because I factored out a 2 out of each of them. So that 2 still hangs out front because I factored that out of the whole problem. I have 3, oh, sorry, I got sloppy with my variables. 3g plus 2, so that's one of mine. And then I have g plus 2, g plus 2. If we ever want to check, all we have to do is go ahead and multiply it back out. 3g times g is 3g squared. 3g times 2 is 6g. 2 times g is 2g. And 2 times 2 is 4. And that gives me 3g squared plus 8g plus 4. Exactly what I wanted to have up here after I'd factored out that 2. Okay? So these do take a little bit of time, but once you kind of get the steps and the process down, it's a nice, straightforward way to find those factored forms.